Damn it. There is no need to be so ruthless, right? Lu Sufeng said depressedly as he rubbed his face. Instructor Sufeng, is that person earlier really the white-robed bladesman? I heard that in the past he was weaker than you. Is that true? How strong is he now? I just heard people saying that he single-handedly scared away 5 Bian Peak elders. That Bian Peak's peak master, Song Qian, could not even stand up before him. The girls all bombarded Lu Sufeng with questions. Anyone else would not have been able to bear it. However, Lu Sufeng merely chuckled. He got the girls to gather around him and said calmly, "There is no need to rush. Ask your questions one at a time. However, before that, let me tell the story from the start first." At this moment, the news that Xiao Chen was back in Qingyan Peak had grown wings and quickly spread throughout the entire Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Furthermore, the story of what happened to Bian Peak's peak master and how Xiao Chen scared away 5 superior-grade martial kings had spread as well. When the cultivators of Xiao Chen's generation thought of the legend from 2 years ago and looked at the strength he exhibited today, they all sighed. Xiao Chen and Lu Ruyu leaned on a rock by a cliff in Qingyan Peak. A waterfall in front of the cliff gushed endlessly. As the wind blew gently at them, Xiao Chen spoke of his encounters in the past 2 years in a soft voice. He told Lu Ruyu everything that he experienced after he left the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, holding nothing back. From the first moment Lu Ruyu saw Xiao Chen, she had known that his accomplishments would not be limited to the great Qin nation. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion would not be able to hold him back. However, she had not expected Xiao Chen's stage to be so big. Xiao Chen was not very good with words. He related his originally exciting experiences in a very dull and calm manner. This was exactly in line with his reserved nature. However, Lu Ruyu became very engrossed in Xiao Chen's story, hanging on to his every word and smiling until her eyes were thin crescents. She was probably the only one who could feel the danger and thrill in Xiao Chen's calm tone. Time went by without the two realizing it. The wind and water sang in their ears. After a while, Xiao Chen shrugged his shoulders and smiled. "Let's talk about you. What did you do in the past 2 years?" The story that Lu Ruyu told was the same as Lu Sufeng's. After Xiao Chen left, Qingyan Peak had developed very quickly in the past 2 years. During this time, Lu Ruyu would bring Lu Sufeng to instruct the new disciples. Then, she would cultivate at night. She was very busy every day. However, even with all the work, Lu Ruyu managed to advance to peak superior grade martial king. This clearly showed her talent. If it were not for the fact that Lu Ruyu was over 24 already, she would have no problem qualifying for the next 5-nation youth competition. Lu Ruyu asked with some anticipation in her voice, "How long are you staying?" Xiao Chen thought for a while before answering, "Probably about 2 months. The next 5-nation youth competition will start in 6 months. I still have to go to the Xiao clan to settle some matters." Only when night fell did Xiao Chen and Lu Ruyu part unwillingly. Then, he returned to the courtyard that he used to stay at. Late at night with the sky filled with resplendent stars, Xiao Chen practiced the 4-season saber technique in the courtyard, trying to comprehend the state for the 4th move. Spring is primed by thunder, summer is primed by fire, autumn is primed by water. What should winter be primed by? Xiao Chen could not think of an answer. If Xiao Chen followed Bai Shuihei's train of thought, winter would naturally be primed by snow. He used a state of extreme cold to seal the world with ice. Xiao Chen did not wish to imitate Bai Shuihei, he wanted to create his own 4-season saber technique. So he would definitely not use snow as the primer. Swish, swish, swish. Xiao Chen's saber intent inadvertently gathered all the fallen leaves in the courtyard into a ball in midair. When he sheathed his saber, the ball of dead leaves immediately exploded. The remnant saber intent lingered on the fallen leaves. They burst into frost, creating thousands of small holes in the surrounding ground. The first elder, Zhang Kai, happened to walk in just then. The moment he stepped into the courtyard, dull explosions came from the ground. A great deal of sharp saber intent under the solid ground suddenly stirred up and worked together. Bang! Right before the shocked eyes of the first elder and his group, the ground of the courtyard exploded. A large cloud of dirt rose into the air. The countless dead leaves hidden in the cloud of dust spun around and a drizzling of saber intent spread out. This made the saber in Zhang Qi's hand buzz, vibrating without end. It really is saber intent. First Elder Zhang Kai exclaimed. He gripped his vibrating weapon tightly as he watched the spinning leaves. Zhang Kai had advanced to half-step martial monarch many years ago. Even by relying on the vast resources of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, he could not break through to martial monarch. Perhaps he no longer had hope of advancing to martial monarch. However, despite being a half-step martial monarch, by relying on the vast resources to temper him, Zhang Kai was almost unrivaled. If Xiao Chen had not comprehended saber intent, Zhang Kai had an 80% chance of defeating Xiao Chen. Now that Xiao Chen already comprehended saber intent, Zhang Kai did not even have a 60% chance of victory. Something like saber intent was not reliant on cultivation realm. Instead, it only depended on comprehension. Some people might be able to reach martial sage but never be able to comprehend saber intent. Then, there were some who comprehended saber intent at martial saint. Only by comprehending saber intent could a bladesman be called a true bladesman. First Elder. Xiao Chen leapt through the cloud of dust and arrived before Zhang Kai. He performed a cupped fist salute and greeted Zhang Kai respectfully. Xiao Chen felt a great deal of gratitude towards Zhang Kai, who had saved his life in the past. Even though he was now stronger than Zhang Kai, he was still very respectful of him. Zhang Kai felt very satisfied when he saw Xiao Chen's attitude. He carefully took Xiao Chen's measure before sighing. I'm old already. 2 years ago, you were just a peak martial saint. However, in 2 years, you unexpectedly advanced to half-step martial monarch. Now, you are no weaker than me. Furthermore, you comprehended saber intent at such a young age. Your potential is immeasurable. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, my saber intent is not worth mentioning, it has not even reached small perfection. If it had, the remnant saber intent on those fallen leaves earlier would have returned to my saber when I sheathed it. Indeed, when saber intent reached small perfection, it would be unleashed and pulled back as one wished. Xiao Chen was still far from that. The first elder, Zhang Kai, smiled slightly. Then, he chatted with Xiao Chen for a while. He cleverly did not mention the oath Xiao Chen had sworn. Xiao Chen, my purpose in coming here this time is because I have a presumptuous request. Can you represent the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the 5-Nation Youth Competition? After dragging the conversation out for a while, Zhang Kai finally stated his purpose. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion also had a branch in Desolate City, although it was not as big as the other sects. Thus, unlike the other disciples of the sect, Zhang Kai, as the first elder, was aware of what happened after Xiao Chen left. Zhang Kai was well informed about Xiao Chen's exploits in the ancient desolate land. He knew that Xiao Chen was not inferior to the geniuses of the great Jin nation. With Xiao Chen's strength, he should not have any problems with entering the top 50. If such a person was willing to fight for the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, it would bring them immeasurable benefits. Xiao Chen thought for a while and made a decision. He nodded and said, I'll be pleased to do so. After all, I was from the Heavenly Saber Pavilion and First Elder had saved my life once. Since you regard me so highly, then I, Xiao Chen, will definitely do my best. When Xiao Chen answered so straightforwardly, Zhang Kai was stunned. It took him a while to react. He smiled and said, Good. 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 Your sincere heart has not changed. Rest assured. While we, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, cannot compare to those rich and powerful sects, the amount of resources we can provide you will be no less. Zhang Kai had laughed loudly and said good thrice. Clearly, he was in a good mood. On the second day, Zhang Kai sent over 3 boxes. The first box had 10,000 inferior-grade spirit stones. The second box contained 10,000 medial-grade spirit stones. When Xiao Chen opened the third box, a vast amount of spiritual energy immediately poured out. Unexpectedly, that box was filled with superior-grade spirit stones. Furthermore, there were 10,000 of them. Even Xiao Chen felt shocked. He was aware of the bottom line of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. They bled themselves dry in taking out these 10,000 superior-grade spirit stones. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and put away all these spirit stones. Although there were not a lot of resources, it was like delivering coal in snowy weather. TL note: delivering coal in snowy weather means to provide help in the hour of need. Now, Xiao Chen was truly broke. He had spent all his resources in the boundless sea and was in urgent need of more. However, inferior-grade spirit stones and medial-grade spirit stones were already useless to Xiao Chen. So he passed them all to Lu Ruyu at night. Accepting these spirit stones meant that Xiao Chen could no longer regret his decision. Thus, after another day passed, the news that he would represent the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the upcoming 5-nation youth competition spread. Zhang Kai had manipulated the dissemination of this news on purpose. It spread throughout the entire Heavenly Saber Pavilion. When the disciples heard it, they all became very excited. They had not expected that Xiao Chen, who had been forced out of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, would come back to help them. Xiao Chen spent his days on Qingyan Peak, adjusting his mental state. During the day, he would keep himself relaxed and carefree, accompanying Lu Ruyu. Occasionally, he would help instruct the juniors of Qingyan Peak. On the 15th day of the 7th month, Xiao Chen had already been on Qingyan Peak for about a month. On this day, something major happened. Even Zhang Kai was startled. The previous top genius, Murong Chong, returned as well. The 5-nation youth competition was only a few months away. Furthermore, there was a possibility that the gates to the upper realms might be opened in the upcoming 5-nation youth competition. There would not only be the geniuses of the 5 great nations, the great Jin, Chu, Tang, Sha, and Qin nations, there would also be those from the ancient desolate land, the vast boundless sea, and the 4 barbarian tribes. All the genius cultivators under this starry sky would be participating. This 5-nation youth competition would be an unprecedented grand occasion. After this, the budding era of geniuses might no longer be budding. The era of geniuses might officially have opened. All conflicts before this would be wiped away. Not only was this the chance for cultivators to stand out, it was also an opportunity for the various sects and powers. At this crucial moment, Murong Chong returned as well. Naturally, the leaders of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion were very grateful. Back then, Murong Chong had been titled the #1 genius of Zaihe province. No one surpassed him. 3 years ago, he was already a superior-grade martial saint. However, because he lost to Xiao Chen, he went far away for experiential training. The people of the Elders' Assembly originally thought that with Murong Chong's talent, he would have been pulled into another sect. They had not expected him to return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. However, the Elders' Assembly had their doubts as well. They were worried that Murong Chong had not been able to pick himself up after hitting rock bottom from his defeat by Xiao Chen. They suspected that Murong Chong ended up returning to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion because ordinary people could not attract the attention of the other great sects. Thus, Zhang Kai and the other elders wanted to test Murong Chong's strength the moment they saw him. Back on Qingyan Peak, Xiao Chen heard the news about Murong Chong's return from Lu Sufeng. When he did, he felt surprised. Xiao Chen was different from the Elders' Assembly. He knew clearly that Murong Chong was not a cultivator who could not suffer a blow. Given Murong Chong's talent, the great sects would definitely have valued him. For him to resist such temptation and return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion meant he was the same as Xiao Chen. Lu Sufeng said, "Chances are, he came back for the 5-nation youth competition. He will probably come looking for you tonight." Xiao Chen smiled gently. After not seeing him for 2 years, I look forward to seeing his growth. Lu Sufeng sighed softly and said, the requirements for this upcoming 5-nation youth competition will probably be raised. Maybe we will need to be martial kings, at the least, to sign up. Ordinary cultivators would definitely wish to participate in the 5-nation youth competition. Even if they did not qualify, they would benefit from watching. It would be an eye-opener for them. Naturally, Lu Sufeng was no exception. Unfortunately, he was stuck at the bottleneck to martial king. He would have difficulty breaking through in the few months left. Xiao Chen made a quick decision. He took out 1,000 superior-grade spirit stones and handed them to Lu Sufeng. He said, use these superior-grade spirit stones to cultivate in the next few months. I'll help you find a natural treasure for your breakthrough. You have to create a good foundation for breaking through to martial king. Xiao Chen had experienced breaking through the bottleneck of martial king himself. One had to build a firm foundation. Otherwise, even if one broke through, they would only be a regular martial king. One's foundation consisted of their cultivation technique, the quality of spirit stones they used, the natural treasure they used when breaking through, and their own talent. Xiao Chen had no way of helping Lu Sufeng with his talent or cultivation technique. However, he could do something about the spirit stones and natural treasures. Lu Sufeng immediately refused. How can I take this? You've already given us so many spirit stones. Furthermore, it would be a waste for me to use superior-grade spirit stones. Xiao Chen advised, don't worry about wastage. Even if you waste most of the spiritual energy in the superior-grade spirit stones, its effects would be much better than medial-grade spirit stones and inferior-grade spirit stones. There is no need to be concerned about this when making a breakthrough. If a martial saint used superior-grade spirit stones for cultivating, it would naturally be a big waste. However, there was no need to bother about this for a breakthrough. After Xiao Chen's advice, Lu Sufeng finally accepted the 1,000 superior-grade spirit stones. The moon now hung high in the sky, scattering its radiance over the ground. It was now late at night. Within his courtyard, Xiao Chen tightly grasped his saber's hilt with his right hand. He was in deep thought as he stared at the fallen leaves in the courtyard. Phew! Xiao Chen drew his saber out by about 2 centimeters. The pitch-black saber immediately gave off a purple light. A sharp saber intent spread out and created a strong wind. The strong wind picked up the fallen leaves, dancing them around the courtyard, up and down. Ka-ca. Xiao Chen drew the lunar shadow saber completely. A boundless saber intent soared out and all the dead leaves started to buzz and spin in the air. With the support of the saber intent, these light and graceful dead leaves immediately became sharp killing weapons. Regular martial saints would not be able to block them and would end up with wounds all over the body. Withdraw. Xiao Chen sheathed his lunar shadow saber in an instant. The spinning leaves immediately stopped and fell back to the ground. Revealing a satisfied expression, Xiao Chen whispered, although I still have not figured out what to use as the primer for winter in the past 1 month, my saber intent has reached small perfection. I can now unleash and withdraw it as I please. Hu Kai. Suddenly, a strong wind blew in the courtyard. A sharp saber intent spread out from the strong wind. The leaves that had fallen to the ground flew back into the air. The dead leaves spun and buzzed, becoming like thousands of knives filling the air as they flew at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and moved his right hand fast. As he quickly drew his saber, his own sharp saber intent poured out. Under the control of Xiao Chen's saber intent, the dead leaves that filled the air started spinning in the opposite direction. Bang! 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 When the two saber intents clashed, the dead leaves in the air could not withstand the force. They exploded into countless smithereens before drifting down like fine rain. When the dust settled, the courtyard was covered in a layer of leaf fragments. Xiao Chen looked in front and saw Morong Chong dressed in black, holding a scarlet saber as he stood on the wall. Morong Chong's aura was like a sharp saber. Carrying himself upright, he radiated sharpness and pride. The two sheathed their sabers at the same time. Morong Chong's figure flashed and appeared on the ground. Then, he casually walked to the stone table in the courtyard. However, Morong Chong's gaze remained fixed on Xiao Chen. A mild shock appeared in the depths on his eyes, although it was very well hidden. After a good while, Morong Chong released a long, drawn-out sigh. It has been 2 years. I thought I would be able to defeat you. Who would have imagined you would still be unfathomable? Xiao Chen said softly, I feel the same about you too. Not only have you advanced to half-step martial monarch, you also comprehended saber intent. Looks like in the end, the Morong Chong of the past did not fall and give in to despair. Morong Chong did not deny anything. He simply smiled and asked, why did you come back? With your talent, there would be powerful great sects extending an olive branch to you. Xiao Chen replied calmly, same as you. Whatever your reason is, that is my reason. Given the two's talent, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion could not indeed retain their interest. However, they were both people who remembered the kindness shown them. They hoped to use this chance to repay the debt of gratitude they owed the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. When asked the reason, they did not have to say it to each other for them to understand. 3 days from now, I will be waiting at the Heaven Ascending platform. We will compete using only the saber. Morong Chong enunciated each word one by one. The battle 2 years ago was Morong Chong's greatest loss. He had lost to an up-and-coming youngster in front of thousands from the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. That battle caused Morong Chong to lose not only his status as Heavenly Saber Pavilion's top disciple, but also the chance to fulfill a certain longing in his heart forever. Morong Chong was not just fussing over minor matters. He had his own pride, which he had once lost and had to regain personally. Xiao Chen accepted the challenge without fear. He said with a calm tone, sure, see you in 3 days at the Heaven Ascending platform. As you say, we will compete using only the saber. The next morning, the news of Morong Chong challenging Xiao Chen spread throughout the entire Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Back then, Xiao Chen and Morong Chong's battle had also been held on the Heaven Ascending platform. Many disciples still remembered the battle. The wind had blown strongly, the clouds churned. Even the sky changed colors. After 2 years, they both had gained their own glory and accomplishments. Now, they were going to fight in the same place again. Would Morong Chong defeat Xiao Chen and regain his title as Heavenly Saber Pavilion's top disciple? Or would Xiao Chen gain victory again, suppressing Morong Chong? Before it even began, this battle had all the Heavenly Saber Pavilion disciples on tenterhooks in anticipation. 3 days passed in a flash. At the place where Xiao Chen stayed, Lu Ruyu said, do we really not need to go? Xiao Chen grasped Lu Ruyu's hand and smiled faintly. There really is no need. We are just competing with the saber. It is not a true life or death battle. It is not even a true exchange of pointers. Compete with the saber, this was bladesman speak. It meant that the two of them would draw their sabers at the same time and see whose saber was mightier. It sounded very simple, but it was actually a complex thing. The instant the attacks were launched, not only would essence be infused into them, the cultivator's states and saber intent would be as well. Under ordinary circumstances, when a bladesman with saber intent competed with one without saber intent, the one with saber intent would win without a doubt. However, Morong Chong and Xiao Chen had both comprehended saber intent. It was hard to gauge who was stronger. However, Xiao Chen was confident in himself. Aside from saber intent, he also comprehended the state of massacre and state of thunder to their limits. As his cultivation increased, they would only get stronger. Furthermore, Xiao Chen's essence was frighteningly pure. It had been tempered by countless natural treasures and a heaven-ranked cultivation technique. In addition, he had used spirit-gathering pearls. It was hard to find anyone stronger than him in the same generation. No matter what kind of fortuitous encounter Morong Chong had had, he would not be able to match Xiao Chen. Only a proud disciple of a great sect who had consumed countless natural treasures since birth and cultivated at least 10 years longer than Xiao Chen would be able to barely surpass him. However, as time passed, the gap between these geniuses and Xiao Chen will only get smaller and smaller. Eventually, Xiao Chen would overtake them. Don't worry. Just wait for my good news. Xiao Chen released Lu Ruyu's hands and said goodbye. Then, he rose into the air and vanished in the blink of an eye. As Lu Ruyu stared in the direction Xiao Chen had taken, a look of deep thought appeared in her eyes. A long time ago, when Xiao Chen just arrived at the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, he still required Lu Ruyu's protection. However, in a mere 2 years, he had completely overtaken her. Lu Ruyu looked away and revealed a resolute gaze. She said to herself, "It looks like I have to find some time to go for experiential training. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing if that fellow surpasses me by too much." Many of the disciples who had received the news were already gathered at the huge drill grounds of the heaven ascending platform. The blazing sun above them did not dampen the excitement of the crowd. They did not stop discussing the upcoming event. Who do you think will win? 2 years ago, the two of them were almost equal. Xiao Chen narrowly won by 1 move. It is hard to say. I hear that Murong Chong has advanced to half-step martial monarch. Xiao Chen is also a half-step martial monarch. However, he only showed a small portion of his strength and did not reveal his true strength. Still, the two of them are competing with their sabers. They are not fighting a true duel. They will be able to decide a victor right away. We will just wait and see. Hee. Actually, whoever's saber is stronger means that person's strength is slightly stronger. 2 years ago, when Xiao Chen and Murong Chong fought, all the cultivators watching favored Murong Chong. They thought that Xiao Chen could not win. However, 2 years later, this battle was now filled with uncertainty. No one could say with confidence who would win. 12 of the elders' assembly's elite elders gathered on a high platform. They did not wish to miss this duel, either. Now, Xiao Chen and Murong Chong seemed to be stronger than many of them. They were even stronger than some of the elders. An elder with small eyes sighed softly and said, "I am really getting old." Perhaps only in this budding era of geniuses would genius cultivators grow this fast. Unfortunately, we are old already. We are destined to only be spectators. Ha, we can only be spectators. A new era of geniuses might not be a bad thing. Life will be interesting at least. Indeed. Now, 2 genius cultivators have emerged from our Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Considering the bigger picture, there should be many more genius cultivators. When they all grow up, the era of geniuses would truly be upon us. I wonder, what kind of glorious scene will we see? The first elder, Zhang Kai, smiled faintly and said, "What is the point of saying all this? Anyway, these 2 great geniuses agreed to fight for our Heavenly Saber Pavilion. By then, our luck will increase. Our Heavenly Saber Pavilion will only rise in this struggle." Shoo. 2 vague figures flew over from the east and west of the drill grounds. They were very fast, arriving at the drill grounds in the blink of an eye. They are here. Murong Chong and Xiao Chen are here. When the 2 people that everyone in the spectator stands were waiting for arrived, the crowd immediately grew more excited. When Murong Chong looked at the surroundings, he recalled the scene from 2 years ago. The scene then was exactly the same as today. The spectator stands then had been completely filled and everyone excited. Originally, he had come in full glory, intending to take over Qingyan Peak in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, he had failed. 2 years later, when Murong Chong saw this scene again, he could not help but feel regret. Murong Chong's heart was filled with hope for victory. He stared at Xiao Chen with a sharp gaze and said in a clear voice, "Xiao Chen, we will decide victory with 1 move." "As you wish." The 2 placed their right hands on their sabers hilt at the same time. Boundless aura, state, and saber intent started gathering quickly. Murong Chong unleashed his state of wind and state of cloud. A strong wind blew behind him, kicking up a boundless cloud of dust. White clouds churned above him without end. Winds blew and clouds churned. The sky changed colors. Xiao Chen unleashed his state of massacre and state of thunder. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled, resounding throughout the place. The crowd's ears were stunned, causing them to hear buzzing sounds. A scarlet light spread wildly behind Xiao Chen. That was the state of massacre fanning out. Although the two's powerful states caused heaven and earth to change drastically, they had not drawn their sabers yet. These auras they unleashed before the great battle caused everyone hold their breath. They did not even dare to breathe. Chang, chang. Two resonant trembling sounds suddenly rang out. Murong Chong and Xiao Chen drew their weapons at the same time. The saber intents that they had been brewing up were suddenly unleashed. Their sabers trembled as the saber intent spread quickly and endlessly. The sabers of the thousands of cultivators immediately trembled, as if they would come unsheathed at any moment. Shoo! The two of them moved as fast as lightning. The lunar shadow saber and the scarlet saber in Murong Chong's hand flew out of the two's grips at the same time, the blades spinning as they headed for each other. Hu Kai! Hu Kai! The two sabers flared. As they moved, they both released a resplendent light, and cracks appeared in the ground. The thousands of cultivators all cried out. When the two saber intents clashed, the sabers of the crowd could not longer be restrained, they all flew into the sky. Thousands of sabers clashed in mid-air, controlled by Xiao Chen's and Murong Chong's weapons. The sabers clattered and clanged when they clashed. It was a spectacular sight to behold. However, no one was looking above. They only stared at the two spinning sabers without blinking. The sabers flew very fast. If the crowd raised their heads to look elsewhere, the victory might be decided in that instant. Dang! While thousands watched, the two sabers with vast auras finally clashed. The fissures on the ground also collided. Ka-ca. The entire drill grounds instantly cracked in half, astonishing the crowd in the spectator stands. Even the elders on the platform could no longer sit still. They are too strong. The genius cultivators are more than we imagined. However, a huge smile filled Zhang Qi's face. He did not mind that the two were stronger than him. He shouted, "Good. No matter who wins, with their strength, our Heavenly Saber Pavilion is destined to gain glory in the upcoming 5-nation youth competition." Fu Si. The proud Murong Chong paled and vomited a large mouthful of blood. A crack appeared on the scarlet saber that belonged to Murong Chong when it clashed with the lunar shadow saber. Woo! Woo! Only a pitch-black saber remained, slowly spinning in the air. The thousands of sabers following the lunar shadow saber in the air buzzed loudly, like they were declaring to the crowd who was the true king of sabers. Whose saber could truly lead the thousands of sabers to become the king of all sabers. Xiao Chen waved his hand and the spinning lunar shadow saber turned into a beam of light as it returned to its scabbard. After losing the support of saber intent, the thousands of sabers buzzing in the sky fell like petals tossed out by an angel. The vast drill grounds regained its calm. The strong winds stopped and the dust settled. Thunder stopped rumbling and the blazing sun shone once more. Only the kilometer-long crack that split the drill grounds remained, telling the story of the earlier wild scene. Saber intent, two states at their limits, and an aura that comes close to that of a martial monarch. These two people are no ordinary half-step martial monarchs. Up on the platform, First Elder Zhang Kai said in a deep voice, "I have to re-evaluate the strength of these two." Second Elder, lead some people to Murong Chong to communicate with him. Give him the best treatment of a genius. I will speak to Xiao Chen personally. The remaining elders exchanged looks. They saw shock in one another's eyes. Give Murong Chong the best treatment of a genius. In that case, does that mean that Xiao Chen's treatment is even better? Maybe the equivalent of the next pavilion master. Don't just stand there. Quickly, go and do what I said. This involves the great matters of our Heavenly Saber Pavilion. If anyone makes a mistake, they can forget about keeping their position in the Elders' Assembly. Zhang Kai snorted coldly and berated the elders with a harsh tone when he did not see them moving. The second elder did not dare to tarry. He hurriedly said, "On my way. I'm on my way." 15 minutes later, Xiao Chen, who was prepared to fly off, received a message from a young disciple that the first elder was waiting for him at the Hidden Treasure Pavilion. The Hidden Treasure Pavilion was where the Heavenly Saber Pavilion stored the wealth it had accumulated over the many years. There were cultivation techniques, secret manuals, spirit weapons, battle armor, spirit stones and all sorts of natural treasures. Everything that was needed were all present. With the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's current strength, their savings would not be as much as the other great sects. It was no match for even the great Jin nation's Heavenly Sword Gate where Ding Fengqiu was from and the great Sha nation's Thousand Sword Pavilion where Sha Xian came from, not to mention the Supreme Sky sect and the other great sects of the great Jin nation. Compared to them, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion was clearly inferior. However, regardless of the situation, the savings of a sect would be something that Xiao Chen would sigh at when he saw them. Since First Elder Zhang Kai was bringing Xiao Chen to the Hidden Treasure Pavilion, it was clear that the First Elder had a new understanding of Xiao Chen's strength and was trying to rope him back in. Xiao Chen understood this principle. However, he still felt it was strange. After all, the First Elder seemed to be putting in too much effort. Xiao Chen had already agreed to fight for the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. He had also already received 10,000 superior-grade spirit stones. What else did the First Elder have to worry about? There was no more need to give him any further benefits. Carrying that suspicion in his heart, Xiao Chen followed that young disciple to the Hidden Treasure Pavilion. The Hidden Treasure Pavilion of any sect was a very important place. Naturally, it would be heavily guarded. Along the way, at the many turns Xiao Chen passed, there were elite disciples of the Divine Saber camp. There were even warships patrolling in the sky. When Xiao Chen reached the Hidden Treasure Pavilion, he could feel a powerful martial monarch's aura. That should be one of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's supreme elders. Such heavy protection showed how important this Hidden Treasure Pavilion was to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. The first elder, Zhang Kai, had been waiting at the door for quite a long time. He waved his hand to dismiss the disciple that led Xiao Chen here. Then, he walked over to Xiao Chen with a big smile on his face. "Ha ha, Xiao Chen, you should know why I brought you here." Xiao Chen nodded to indicate he understood. Smiling, Zhang Kai said, "The strength that you and Murong Chong displayed far surpassed my expectations. The two of you have comprehended saber intent in also two different states each. Furthermore, you two have comprehended your states to their limits. The next step would be will. However, I favor you more. Do you know why?" Zhang Kai proceeded to answer his own question. "This is because you have climbed to the 8th floor of the ancient desolate tower. That itself represents a type of luck. By returning to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, you have unknowingly influenced the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Naturally, that was a good influence. All right, enough nonsense. Come with me." Zhang Kai looked up at the top floor and had a simple communication with the Supreme Elder there. Then, the wooden doors with formations drawn on it unlocked and opened with a click. On the first floor, a dazzling sight filled Xiao Chen's eyes. The glitter dazed him and made him dizzy. However, when Xiao Chen looked carefully, he realized that they were all items of the mundane world. There were gold, silver, pearls, jade, night pearls, and precious gems. If a regular person picked up any item here, they would be able to live the rest of their life in luxury. However, none of these caught Xiao Chen's and Zhang Qi's attention. They did not bother giving these items a second look before heading to the second floor. The items on the second floor started to look interesting. There were spirit weapons, secret manuals, and inferior-grade spirit stones. Like before, Zhang Kai did not even bother looking at these items. This was because he knew that Xiao Chen would not care for these items, either. The two continued going up, passing the 3rd floor, then the 4th floor. The items that Xiao Chen saw started to interest him. However, Zhang Kai did not stop walking, he merely continued climbing up. They reached the 7th floor before they stopped. If they went up another floor, they would be at the top floor of the hidden treasure pavilion. I can only bring you this far. Even I do not have the right to go up one more floor. As for Murong Chong, I can only bring him to the 6th floor, but you can come to the 7th, Zhang Kai said softly as he smiled. Xiao Chen carefully looked around the 7th floor. Compared to the dazzling 1st floor, this floor looked very plain. All the treasures here had their auras withdrawn. However, if one looked carefully, one could sense a faint spiritual energy filling every corner of the floor. All sorts of treasures covered the tables and shelves made of platinum-glazed jade. There were spirit cores from thousand-year-old spirit beasts and demonic cores from thousand-year-old demonic beasts. These creatures had been incredibly strong when they were alive. Even after they died and their inner cores taken out, intense energy fluctuations could be felt. There were also rows of bookshelves filled with cultivation techniques and martial techniques for the saber. All the secret manuals were at least Earth-ranked. These were the gains of the seniors of Heavenly Saber Pavilion when they left the mountain. When Xiao Chen continued looking, he saw several exquisite brocade boxes with inferior-grade spirit-gathering pearls in them. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion used to have martial sages as well. It was not strange that they were able to refine spirit-gathering pearls. However, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion no longer had any martial sages. So every time one spirit-gathering pearl was used, that would be one spirit-gathering pearl less from their savings. They could only keep these in the hidden treasure pavilion. On the weapons rack, there were 10 sabers of various styles. They all glistened with a bright light. Occasionally, they gave off a strong saber light. Saber light coming out automatically was a sign of a heaven-ranked spirit weapon. When Zhang Kai noticed Xiao Chen looking at the weapons rack, he could not help but say proudly, "Xiao Chen, these are the things that our Heavenly Saber Pavilion has obtained over the years. There are 10 heaven-ranked spirit weapons. One of them is a superior-grade heaven-ranked spirit weapon. I can tell that your Lunar Shadow Saber is only a superior-grade Earth-ranked weapon. You can choose one of these. Use a heaven-ranked spirit weapon to replace the Lunar Shadow Saber." Xiao Chen smiled faintly and refused. What a joke. The Lunar Shadow Saber was once a sub-divine weapon. Although the Lunar Shadow Saber was only a superior-grade Earth-ranked spirit weapon now, once Cao Zhao finished nourishing it, it would immediately become a heaven-ranked spirit weapon. In the future, as long as Xiao Chen could find the necessary materials, he would be able to restore it to a sub-divine weapon. If there was an opportunity, without Zhao's help, it might become a new divine weapon. How could Xiao Chen be willing to swap it out? Zhang Kai was somewhat stunned. Clearly, he had not expected Xiao Chen to reject his offer. However, this was fine as well. Coincidentally, Murong Chong's weapon had just been broken. It would be appropriate to give him a new weapon. Zhang Kai immediately said, "As you wish, then. If there is anything you like here, you can take them." Xiao Chen was astonished. "I can take them. First Elder, aren't you afraid that I would empty out the entire floor?" Zhang Qi's wrinkled face had a happy smile on it. "Ha ha. I really am not afraid of that. In fact, what I am afraid of is you taking too little. I am not afraid of you taking too much." In Zhang Qi's opinion, for Xiao Chen to resist the offers of the various great sects and return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, that meant he was a person who repaid debts of gratitude. If he took a lot of items, he would end up owing the Heavenly Saber Pavilion another favor. The bigger the favor, the greater the repayment. Thus, Zhang Kai was not afraid that Xiao Chen would take too much. He was afraid that Xiao Chen would not be interested in these items and take too little. Of course, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to truly empty out the floor. Finally, he took 100 inferior-grade spirit-gathering pearls, 50,000 inferior-grade spirit stones, 1,000-year-old lightning-attributed rank 9 demonic core, and the secret manual for the lightning tribulation saber technique. This lightning tribulation saber technique was a peak Earth-ranked saber technique. This was the saber technique that the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder created. It was slightly weaker than the Four-Season saber technique but stronger than the Wukui saber technique. He could make the Four-Season saber technique his trump card and use this lightning tribulation saber technique normally, to hide his true strength. The things that Xiao Chen took were within Zhang Qi's expectations. He smiled and said, "Come, let's go to Jade Maiden Peak and pick some 1,000-year-old spirit herbs." After they left the hidden treasure pavilion, First Elder Zhang Kai waved his hand and a warship descended. He smiled and said, "Let's board." Xiao Chen hesitated for a moment before saying, "First Elder, you have already given me so many treasures. Let's leave these spirit herbs for the other elders and the juniors." Zhang Kai laughed loudly and pushed Xiao Chen up. He said, "Don't overthink this. If you went to another sect, they would only give you even more. Like I said before, since you chose the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, we will do our best to nurture you." The two climbed to the deck and the warship immediately soared into the sky, heading towards Jade Maiden Peak. As the warship passed through the clouds, the wind blew strongly, making Xiao Chen's and the First Elder's hair flutter about. Zhang Kai thought to himself for a while before saying, "Xiao Chen, you don't seem understand what the luck from the Five-Nation Youth Competition represents, or to be more precise, the value of this luck." Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He looked at Zhang Kai and said, "Would you please explain more?" Honestly speaking, Xiao Chen really did not understand the value of luck. So he sincerely asked Zhang Kai to explain. After all, the First Elder was someone who controlled a sect. He had to know something that Xiao Chen did not. Luck is something that seems ethereal, something intangible. However, it truly exists. 20 years ago, our Heavenly Saber Pavilion was counted among the peak sects. However, we eventually suffered from a calamity. In the end, the problem would be that we did not have enough luck. If there is something tangible that represents luck, that would be the dragon veins. Dragon veins. Zhang Kai continued to explain, the dragon vein is a representation of luck. There are 9 dragon veins in the world. Each of the 5 great nations controls 1 dragon vein each. In a way, the various royal courts are great sects without status. This is also why the people of the royal courts are not allowed to participate in the Five-Nation Youth Competition. They already have a vast amount of luck and they are not allowed to compete for more with the other sects. Xiao Chen felt very curious. He asked, "Then where are the remaining 4 dragon veins?" Zhang Kai said, "These are things that you couldn't have known. However, you are now qualified to know them. The remaining 4 dragon veins are under the Wind Cloud Arena in the Great Jin Nation. Once upon a time, the last emperor of the Tianwu dynasty was overly ambitious. He wanted to gather all the 9 dragon veins in the air and obtain all the luck. He wanted to go against the heavens and gain immortality. This provoked the 4 holy lands and resulted in a 9th-grade demonic calamity. The 9 dragons had escaped and the spirit veins turned chaotic. Hence, the spiritual energy of the current 5 great nations plummeted. Xiao Chen had known that much. However, he had not been aware of the Tianwu emperor's ambitions. Unexpectedly, the 4 holy lands were the ones who caused the demonic calamity that destroyed the Tianwu dynasty. This secret was something that most cultivators simply could not imagine. In the eyes of regular cultivators, the Holy Lands were the representation of righteousness, helping to seal spatial cracks everywhere. Zhang Kai said softly, "Aside from the Great Jin Nation, the royal courts of the 5 great nations are the representatives of the 4 Holy Lands. Back then, the Tianwu dynasty was able to rule the entire continent due to the 4 Holy Lands' support. When their puppets stopped obeying their instructions, they just had to swap them out." Wang. Xiao Chen was shaken. He had not expected such a secret to exist. To think the Holy Lands were so mighty. Even someone as strong as the Tianwu Emperor, a hero of that generation, someone who left his mark in history and was remembered for 10,000 years, Unexpectedly he was but a pawn in the hands of the Holy Lands. As for Xiao Chen, what was he now? He was not even qualified to be a pawn. Suddenly, Xiao Chen noticed a problem. He felt it was strange, so he asked, "First Elder, you said 4 Holy Lands earlier. How come we know of only the 3 Holy Lands? Phoenix's Passion Palace, White Emperor City, and Divine Martial Gate. Although the 3 Holy Lands were mysterious, their names were no secret. However, no matter how Xiao Chen counted, there were only 3. Zhang Qi's complexion changed. He knew that he had said too much. He smiled and said, "Don't bother about that. All you need to know is that the 4 dragon veins under the Wind Cloud Arena give the sects of the world a chance at a fair competition. Whoever can obtain ranking will obtain great luck. Furthermore, this time, a great age is imminent. In the past, only 1 dragon vein, at most, would awaken. This time, it might be possible that 4 dragon veins will awaken. Hence, if you are able to obtain a ranking, no matter how much I give you, it would be worth it." Seeing that Zhang Kai was not willing to say more, Xiao Chen did not press the matter. Xiao Chen thought to himself, "One day, I will personally unravel all these mysteries. Does the Azure Dragon Martial Spirit represent the 4th Fallen Holy Land? I have to figure all this out." Xiao Chen had once heard from Leng Yu that there were 3,000 great realms in this universe. The Tianwu continent was known as the Sky Dome realm. However, it was only an average realm among the 3,000 great realms. The so-called Upper Realm was a high-ranking realm that governed the 3,000 great realms, Kunlun realm. From that moment, Xiao Chen had some guesses in his heart. His so-called transcension might not have been a coincidence. Earth, where he came from, might be one of the 3,000 great realms. Of course, this was the deepest secret hidden in Xiao Chen's heart. He would not tell this to anyone. The only thing he could do was continue becoming stronger, increasing his strength. Then, he would unravel the mystery personally. As the two spoke, Jade Maiden Peak appeared before them. It was covered with a spiritual fog and a fragrance. The warship continued flying to a pavilion at a cliff in Jade Maiden Peak. A large portion of the pavilion was not sitting on the cliff. It looked like the entire pavilion was hovering in the air. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. He said, "This is ancestral Martial Ant Shen's place." Zhang Kai nodded and said, "That's right. When going to Jade Maiden Peak to get natural treasures, we have to get permission from Martial Ant Shen first. However, there should not be any problems. You can rest assured." When the warship was a kilometer away, Zhang Kai waved his hand and the warship stopped. Then, he led Xiao Chen to gently float down to the ground without making a sound. Martial Ant Shen, Martial Nephew Zhang Kai requests an audience. Zhang Kai, the person controlling the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, was very respectful at this moment. The doors of the pavilion gradually opened. The young-looking Shen Manjin slowly came out with Chu Xinyan carefully following behind her. When Zhang Kai saw Shen Manjin coming out, he quickly rushed forward and told her the purpose of his visit. When Shen Manjin heard it, she looked with interest at Xiao Chen. She smiled and said, "Unexpectedly, this little fellow from 2 years ago grew so much. Xinyan, take my token and bring him to the herb fields with spirit herbs older than 1,000 years old. If there is anything he likes, he can take it." Xiao Chen bowed and offered a cupped fist salute. "Many thanks, ancestral martial ant." When Xiao Chen met a regular martial monarch, the most he would do would be to speak respectfully and perform a cupped fist salute. This was the rule of the continent. The weak had to do this when they met the strong. If one behaved too carefreely, their words might cause trouble for them. So one had to have respect for the strong. However, when Xiao Chen met Shen Manjin, he bowed. Actually, he already guessed long ago. It was not rare to meet a 300-year-old martial monarch. However, she maintained a youthful appearance, looking like a young girl. She was definitely a strong expert that was only a step away from becoming a martial sage. She was worthy of this bow. After Chu Xinyan received Shen Manjin's token, she led Xiao Chen to the herb fields. This time, Zhang Kai did not follow. As Zhang Kai watched Xiao Chen leave, he smiled and asked, "Martial Ant, what do you think of this person? Do you think he is worth nurturing?" Shen Manjin's eyes were deep and clear. She said, "This person looks calm but he has a cold heart. He will not be easily influenced and always looks out for his best interest. He is very clear on what he wants and is decisive in killing. He is unfeeling." Zhang Qi's smile froze. Could my judgment be wrong? Changing the topic, Shen Manjin smiled and said, "However, the fortunate thing is that he never changed. From the first time I saw him, he has not changed. Even after seeing the complex world, gaining boundless glory, obtaining 100 consecutive victories in the wrestling ring, climbing to the 8th floor of the ancient desolate tower, and becoming the top youth in the 4 nations, despite all these, he has remained himself. He did not change." Somewhat at a loss, Zhang Kai said, "Martial Ant, I do not understand." Shen Manjin smiled sweetly before turning around. Her melodious voice rang out, "There is no need for you to understand. You only need to know that he can give you what you want." Xiao Chen and Chu Xinyan knew each other long ago. However, they felt uncomfortable when they met each other again. Chu Xinyan had not expected Xiao Chen to return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion after the battle at the Heaven Ascending platform. When they first met, their strengths were about equal. Now, however, they had a large gap in strength. Chu Xinyan was still a martial saint while Xiao Chen had long broken through to martial king. Now, he was standing at the border to martial monarch. "Junior sister Chu, just help me casually get 10 or so thousand-year-old herbs. I just want the ones that aid in raising cultivation." Under Chu Xinyan's lead, the two quickly arrived at the herb field for thousand-year-old herbs. The results disappointed Xiao Chen. Although it was the herb field for thousand-year-old herbs, most of the spirit herbs there were only 800 or 900 years old. There were very few thousand-year-old spirit herbs and no 2,000-year-old spirit herbs. Perhaps Zhang Kai did not know, but after eating so many thousand-year-old spirit herbs, these spirit herbs were no longer of any use to Xiao Chen. So Xiao Chen only casually asked for 10 or so thousand-year-old spirit herbs. He would be able to use these as gifts. He intended to return to Mohe City in a month. He had to bring something back. Casually pick 10 or so thousand-year-old spirit herbs. When Chu Xinyan heard these words, she could not help but roll her eyes. "What do you mean casually pick them? This fellow is treating thousand-year-old spirit herbs like cabbage." This was something that even the elders could not get. Chu Xinyan's reaction would be interesting if she knew that Xiao Chen just intended to use them as gifts and even found them wanting for this purpose. He thought for a while before saying, "That's right. Make sure they are over 1,000 years in age. Don't bother using the 800 or 900-year-old ones to make up the numbers, they would not have any effect." 1,000 years was a hurdle, just like human cultivation. When spirit herbs cleared the hurdle of 1,000 years, they would be on a different level from the 800 or 900-year-old ones. Their effects would be severalfold stronger. So Xiao Chen made sure to remind Chu Xinyan. How picky! Chu Xinyan could not help but complain in her heart. However, she still obediently went to search. After all, she had to obey Shen Manjin's orders. With Chu Xinyan working on getting the spirit herbs, Xiao Chen became rather free. After he had waited for an hour, Chu Xinyan carried 15,000-year-old spirit herbs over. Xiao Chen checked and did not find any problems. He smiled softly and said, "Many thanks, junior sister Chu. I shall take my leave first." Xiao Chen returned to meet Zhang Kai and Shen Manjin to thank them once again. After all, while these items might be useless to him, he had to observe basic etiquette. Zhang Kai said, "Xiao Chen, do you have any request? You can just tell me, I will do all I can to help." As the saying went, don't get a reward if it's not deserved. Representing the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the 5-Nation Youth Competition was one thing, but whether Xiao Chen could obtain a good ranking still remained to be seen. How could Xiao Chen dare to make any request? He could only reject the other party's kind intentions. In a desolate forest on Qingyan Peak, dark clouds churned and thunder roared. Xiao Chen was practicing the lightning tribulation saber technique he had just obtained. The lightning tribulation saber technique was different from the four-season saber technique. This saber technique did not require much personal comprehension. All Xiao Chen needed to comprehend was just the meaning behind every saber and their state. The saber technique had been created by the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder in his early years rather than his later years. Thus, it would not be very difficult to comprehend it. Back then, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder was undergoing experiential training when he was young. He had coincidentally discovered a rank 9 spirit beast preparing to take human form. When the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder saw the 9 waves of lightning tribulation, he created the lightning tribulation saber technique. He was able to create his own saber technique before he was 30 years old. Furthermore, it was a peak Earth-ranked saber technique. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder had horrifying talent. No wonder he was able to establish the Heavenly Saber Pavilion and become a martial emperor. From a certain angle, if Xiao Chen was able to completely comprehend his own four-season saber technique, his talent would be no less than the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder. In nature, lightning has always been seen as the will of the Heavenly Tao. If one went against the Heavenly Tao, it would send down lightning to destroy everything. Xiao Chen muttered, "The first 3 moves of the lightning tribulation saber technique store power, the next 3 form lightning, and the final 3 moves call down the tribulation." When trained to the highest level, one could seize the Heavenly Tao, sending down lightning in place of heaven. I hope this will not disappoint me. Xiao Chen had personally seen Xiao Bai's tribulation in the past. The secret manual contained the detailed circulation method of the 9 moves, the personal notes of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder. Furthermore, Xiao Chen had good comprehension abilities. Given all the above factors, Xiao Chen progressed very fast in his practice of the lightning tribulation saber technique. Compared to the four-season saber technique, it was 5 or 6 times faster. He managed to learn all 9 moves within 1 month. This was very normal. Xiao Chen had to comprehend the four-season saber technique for himself, carefully testing as he advanced step by step. As for the lightning tribulation saber technique, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's founder had already paved the way. All Xiao Chen needed to do was follow his instructions. Between the two, it was clear which was easier. However, the four-season saber technique was mightier than the lightning tribulation saber technique. Furthermore, it was more suitable for Xiao Chen. After all, he had comprehended it himself. Xiao Chen sheathed his saber, and the thunderclouds above him scattered. He said softly to himself, 2 months have passed. It is time to go back to Mohe City to take a look. In another 4 months, the 5-nation youth competition would begin. After that, Xiao Chen might be able to go to the Kunlun realm. Perhaps he might never get the chance to return to Mohe City. Even though Xiao Shang had chased Xiao Chen out of the Xiao clan, disowning him, blood was thicker than water. Xiao Chen had to at least return and take a look. Xiao Chen had to visit the brothers who fought with him for the sake of the promise of 10 years, the brothers who were willing to kneel and beg for mercy before Xiao Shang for the sake of Xiao Chen. He had to personally see for himself how those brothers were doing before he could be at peace. It was late at night. A full moon hung high in the sky, its silver light shining on the entire Qingyan Peak. Using the moonlight to illuminate his way, Xiao Chen headed for Lu Ruyu's courtyard, preparing to say goodbye. Ha, ha, ha. In her courtyard, Lu Ruyu was wearing tight robes that perfectly outlined her exquisite figure. She was currently focused on practicing her saber one move at a time. Saber lights flickered as Lu Ruyu moved. A strong wind blew, sweeping up all the fallen leaves. Given Lu Ruyu's cultivation, she had already reached peak superior grade martial king. As long as she could advance her state of wind by one more step, she would be able to step into the half-step martial monarch realm. When Lu Ruyu saw Xiao Chen standing outside, she spun the saber in her hand around and sent a sharp attack at Xiao Chen. Another exchange of moves. Xiao Chen smiled faintly, he was not shocked. This was how it had been for the past few days. The two of them exchanged moves, helping each other identify their inadequacies. However, it was more of Xiao Chen giving pointers to Lu Ruyu. His combat experience and insights already surpassed hers. Dang, dang, dang. Under the moonlight, Xiao Chen and Lu Ruyu moved quickly. When their weapons clashed, sparks flew out. You are 4 hours earlier than usual today. Are you here to say goodbye to me? Lu Ruyu swung her saber at lightning speed, brushing it past Xiao Chen's shoulder. Kai. Xiao Chen parried Lu Ruyu's attack with his saber. Then, he said softly, before the 5-nation youth competition, I have to go back to Mohe City. How long will you be going for? When will you come back? If it is fast, 1 month, at the latest, 3 months. In any case, I will rush back to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion before going to the Great Jin Nation. As the two exchanged moves, they chatted. They seemed very carefree under the gentle moonlight. There was a faint warmth in their hearts. After 1 hour, the two finished their exchange of moves. Lu Ruyu sheathed her saber and smiled helplessly. Unexpectedly, you managed to improve so much after just a month. I truly can't compare to you. Xiao Chen held Lu Ruyu's hand and smiled. What's wrong? Are you afraid that I will bully you in the future? Lu Ruyu blushed and whispered, I don't mind if you bully me. It's just that if you climb too high, I'm afraid that the gap between you and me will only grow wider and wider. Xiao Chen pulled Lu Ruyu into his embrace. As he looked deeply into the bright moon in the sky, a melancholic smile appeared on his face. He muttered, in this world, Qingyan Peak is my second home. No matter how far I go or how high I climb, I will definitely return here. Home. Lu Ruyu felt a warmth in her heart. She looked up at Xiao Chen and opened her lips slightly, a gentle expression radiating from her eyes. Xiao Chen gave Lu Ruyu a faint smile and picked her up. Then, he headed for her room. These two were both youths. In the past 2 months, they had spent their nights alone practicing. They were deeply in love. Naturally, the so-called matters between men and women had taken place. The Great Qin Nation had 4 provinces: Dongming Province, Zaihe Province, Nanling Province, and the Northern Royal Court. Each province had 3 prefectures, each prefecture had 9 counties, and finally, each county had countless cities of varying sizes. Mohe City was one of these cities. It was unremarkable in the vast Great Qin Nation. There were many such cities in the Great Qin Nation, they were uncountable. They were as ordinary as they could be. On this particular day, a white-robed youth with delicate looks appeared at Mohe City's gates from the road. A saber hung at his waist and he had a calm expression on his face as he moved in an unhurried manner. That white-robed youth quickly walked past the crowd. He did not wear any extravagant adornments or release his cultivator's aura. However, he gave off a unique, carefree feeling that made him stand out from the crowd. Several of the martial masters around him could not look up at him. Naturally, this white-robed bladesman was Xiao Chen. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion was in Zaihe Province, Mohe City was in Dongming. One was in the east and the other, in the west. Even though Xiao Chen traveled at full speed, the trip had taken half a month.